Shavua Tov, good afternoon. Welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you as always by Lay of the Land and hosted by a rather nasally me, Rolene Marks. Now, apologies for no Israel Brief on Thursday. I had a throat infection. I was convinced if I opened my mouth, flames would come out. And as this is the Israel Brief and not Game of Thrones, I didn't think it would be appropriate. But let's take a look at those top stories, albeit with a slightly nasally remix. Former President Rivlin has weighed in on the proposal by the incoming coalition to overhaul Israel's High Court. Now, he has said that the ambitions of bringing in the override legislation, very, very controversial legislation, which would see a majority of 61 of the 120 Knesset members be able to override or overturn legislation passed by the High Court. He says it reeks of vindictiveness and it is an attempt to damage the institution. It is an imperative in a democracy that there are checks and balances, and as Israel does not have a constitution, the Supreme Court remains that bastion which ensures that Israel's democracy is protected. However, the incoming coalition, which has a much more right-leaning majority, want to override the authority that the High Court has, saying that they overreach the authority and are far too left-leaning. Meanwhile, incoming Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appealed to President Herzog to extend the deadline for him to form a coalition. This has been granted and he has until the 21st of December to put his government together. In other news, according to reports, Iran has stopped funneling money to Palestinian factions. Now, this is according to Arabic newspaper Al-Quds. It is not mentioned exactly which of these factions are not receiving their funding, but according to an unnamed source in Lebanon, some of these factions or some Palestinian terror factions are experiencing financial difficulties. Well, we could have advised them what to rather do with all the funding they receive, but that's just us. Now, while we don't know exactly who this affects, we do know that Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and various others are on the receiving end of Iranian funding, and Iran has been the largest state sponsor of terror to date. In better news, both the United Arab Emirates and Israel ratified their free trade agreements today. And in a statement by the Emirati Minister of Foreign Trade, he says, this is a great moment. He says, this will bolster cooperation economically for our region and will significantly reduce the cost of tariffs, something that Israelis really welcome. Sometimes the import duties on certain goods are really exorbitant. And we all wanted to know who would win StopAntisemitism.org's Anti-Semite of the Year. And beating out Mohammed Hadid, that is the father of supermodels Gigi and Bella Hadid, and the head of the Goyim Defense League, John Minadeo II, is, drumroll please, one Kanye West. Yes, Kanye West has finally won an award. We don't need an acceptance speech from him on this particular issue. His silence would be most welcome. No, really, Kanye, your silence would be most welcome. But Kanye West is officially 2022's Anti-Semite of the Year. This follows his tweet threatening to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people, followed by subsequent interviews where he has said he loves Hitler, we must stop dissing the Nazis, told Jews to forgive Hitler, and has made claims that if he is president, Jews will not be able to work independently. And that is just amongst the countless other repugnant accusations made by Kanye West. I don't think Taylor Swift or anybody will be rushing on stage to claim that award. So that brings me to the end of today's Israel Brief. Don't forget to follow us on our website at www.layoftheland.online. We will be publishing this week. We will be sending out a newsletter next week, and then we will be taking a well-deserved break for the holidays. If you want your Israel Briefs to continue, they will be continuing until the next year, or right through until the next year. And of course, you can find your Israel Brief on our YouTube channel at the Israel Brief. Please like, share, and subscribe. Our Facebook community is at Lottel Site. Please like, share, invite your friends too as well. And we're on Twitter at Lay of the Land 5. I'm Rivlin. This is the Israel Brief. Join me again tomorrow for your top stories.